This is the Walk-Thru, powered by Triple F Elite Sports Training. Train like a pro. Your all-access pass to the biggest games, hottest stories, and everything high school football in East Tennessee. From the Friday night lights to the chase for championships, we bring you the stars, the headlines, and every heart-pounding moment. So strap on that chin strap and get ready. Jesse, Paige, and the 5-star preps team are here with the most complete high school football coverage in the state. This is the Walk-Thru.
Another Wednesday, that means it's another episode of the Walk-Thru. Thank you so much for joining us, Paige Dauer, alongside Jesse Smithey in the house of Triple F, which there's no better place to be on a Wednesday than here at Triple F.
I know, it's active, there's things going on in seemingly every room. I love it. It just kind of gives us an extra energy for us when we come out here on set. It's not quiet in here, it's not like a library, and we feed off that energy here at Triple F. And they're, I think, in their 3rd year now and keeps getting better each and every year. And I was talking with Lee Smith earlier just about new things that they have. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show.
Yeah, and I know they're so accommodating too, because when we came in here, the lights were off, the vibes were good, the music was high, and we're like, hey guys, do you mind? And they didn't at all. So it really is so good to be here.
And they vacuumed the turf for us again.
Yes,
I mean,
I did notice that.
They want it looking good always, so I can appreciate that.
Yes. When we take a quick look back to last week, there was some major storylines that was happening. You could really specifically start with Powell and Farragut. Of course, Powell's quarterback, Deuce Rogers, sidelined with an injury. So who comes in as the backup quarterback getting his first start at the QB position? Yeah. Brody Howell.
Yeah, we didn't know how that was going to go because Deuce Rogers, 6'3", 240-pound, dual threat quarterback, a 3-year starter, can run for over 1,000, can throw for over 1,000. He got hurt in that game against Anderson County in week 1, even though that game was never completed.
Right.
We didn't know if he was going to get to go against Farragut. As I've told you before, Powell coach Matt Lowe does not talk about injury, so it's just a guessing game.
Yeah.
And so immediately we start following that game. We have a reporter at that game, and Brody Hollowell is the quarterback. And Brody is a kid that we're familiar with as a defensive back.
Yes.
He was on the all 5-star preps underclassmen team in 2024 as a defensive back. He had started every game of his high school career through 2 years on defense, but sometimes that gives you a unique vantage point on how to play the quarterback position. When you can see the field from 2 different sides, especially as kind of one of those ball hawking defensive backs back there, you kind of know what they're thinking and what they're looking for. And I think he put that know-how and that knowledge to use. 241 yards passing, 3 passing touchdowns. Oh, and he led the game-winning touchdown drive there on the road at Farragut. So
26-21 final, yeah.
Now the question is, does Deuce Rogers come back for this game against Halls? We don't know. Matt Lowe did tell us, though, in our story after the game that they expect him back, soon.
Right, what is soon?
It's always going to be kind of smoke screeny out there. But you're talking about the rivalry game for Powell. Battle for Emory Road, Halls versus Powell this Thursday night. I mean, I'd be shocked if Deuce Rogers is in street clothes.
You would be shocked.
Shocked.
Interesting. We will see how that goes then. Maybe that when we get to our picks later, we'll talk a little bit about that. Sure. Yeah, smokescreen. The next thing I want to turn our attention to is Maryville at West, which maybe in past years it was a little bit more competitive. I mean, this game with Will Jones quarterbacking for the Maryville Rebels was really over by halftime.
Yeah, you're talking about Will Jones, who we had out on set not too long ago for week 1. He went 12 of 12 passing, 366 yards, 5 touchdowns, also ran for a touchdown. I mean, it was a clinic for Will Jones. And I think that came from, number 1, losing that game to Alcoa, and number 2, wanting to win in the worst way to kind of get their season going. We're into week 2. They were into week 2. They don't want to start off 0-2. They hadn't done that since the year 2000. So there was a sense of urgency for Maryville. And then on the flip side, you had West, who was making its first start of the year, had some early season rust to knock off. And so it was just, you had one team up here and one team kind of getting their season off the mat, so to speak. So Maryville just had a huge advantage that game.
Yeah, and coming up later, too, we have tons of interviews, so certainly make sure you stay tuned for that. But a couple other games I want to look at.
Sure.
We could go to Oak Ridge, for instance, at Clinton last week.
Yeah, it ended up being a blowout.
Yeah.
Demillion Porter, running back, ran for over 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. Will Presley had 2 catches for 100 some odd yards and 2 touchdowns. And Malik Howard got involved. Blaine Stansberry had a huge day. It was all Oak Ridge in that game.
Committee, yeah.
They dominate that series all the way back to the 1940s, and it showed.
Yeah. The other game that we have of note is Gibbs at Halls. Of course, Halls and Powell coming up next, too. So kind of a good matchup to keep your eyes on.
I did not have Hall starting off the year 0-2. I did not have Gibbs winning that football game last week. If you look at what happened in the first half, Gibbs really laid claim to that win in the first half. They blocked a punt. They punched it in for a score. They took advantage of Hall's mistakes. Hall's got in or near the red zone a few times in the first half, could not score. Seeing their offense struggle to score points this year has been kind of the shock so far.
Yeah.
So they need to kind of shore things up front, get a little bit of run game to kind of keep defenses honest, and I think it'll open up for them.
The last game I kind of want us to turn our attention to is Catholic and Anderson County. Some major storylines, especially with AC.
Right. In the midway through the third quarter, J.D. Gillum, freshman quarterback of Anderson County, was sacked hard and did not return to the game. We're not expecting him to be back for a while for Anderson County. They put in Damian Lavelle. People know him as Booby.
Yes.
And he played quarterback the rest of the game, and it didn't go well, didn't flow well. Here's what I think might happen. 2 years ago, Jason Thompson, the running back, when he played at Bearden, carried the ball 20 to 25 times a game as a sophomore and really led that team deep into the playoffs. I could see Anderson County going that route. They have a number of good running backs that they can hand the ball to. They're physical up front. And then when situations allow and the quarterback feels comfortable, maybe hit that passing play that the backup quarterback is used to or comfortable with. So it's going to be interesting to see how Anderson County does offense.
What also will be interesting is what Jacob Crow from Alcoa tells you coming up next. Stay with us.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
All right, Amari, congratulations first off on a new position here. Kind of fill me in here on what you'll be doing here at Triple F and just kind of how you got connected here.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate it. So I'm working with Lee Smith on just the training aspect. First off with kids, middle school kids, high school kids, all types of ages. And then I'm coming in on the skill position realm too. So I'll be working with skill position with receivers on Saturdays now. Just having literally like a 4 to 5 hour period to where I can train kids and they come in and get, one-on-one personal work with me, and I pour in the experience that I had on my level of playing and try to get them right and get them to achieve the dreams that they want to achieve.
Yeah, speaking of, I've watched you in high school, I watched you in college, I watched you in pros, and I've watched you work out as well. You always seem to have a purpose and a passion to when you are training. How did that develop, and how much of that do you want to instill in the kids and the people that you'll be training?
Yeah, for sure. I knew, coming from Knoxville, a smaller market, that, to be different, you have to do the extraordinary things as far as working hard and, doing all the things needed to separate yourself. So that's what I plan on pouring into the guys here. Just letting them know that, we have to be different. We have to work harder than everybody else in the Floridas and the Texas and the Californias because, we're already not looked at as much as those people. So we always have to push ourselves even harder to get where we want to. And that's what got me to where I was. And I was blessed enough to play in the NFL and win a national championship. So that's really what I want to pour into these kids here and give them that belief that they can do the same things, if not more, than what I achieved.
What about life lessons as well? I mean, you've had so many different things happen to you, good and bad, in your high school, college, and pro career. Will you mentor from that respect as well?
Yeah, for sure. No doubt. I would definitely, tell them the mistakes that I made in my professional career and also pour into them the things that they can do, to help them exceed where, like I said earlier, go where they want to go. It's always lessons to be learned and, things that you can teach from your own experiences. And that's definitely something that I'm not afraid to be vulnerable about and tell people and help them learn from my experiences. So I'm definitely looking forward to that.
How did you connect with Lee? I mean, I know he's a guy that really invests in the community and loves, investing in kids. How did that kind of connection happen with you two?
So the last 2 springs I've been playing in the UFL. So I kind of tapped in with Lee to help me train to get ready and prepare for those spring seasons the last 2 years. And, they got me ready. I was in the best shape of my life going into this past spring season. And, that was credit to Rich and, Lee, pouring into me and allowing me to come here and train. So I knew if I ever had an opportunity to, work for them, I knew it was not a facility in Knoxville like, Triple F that had the amenities and had the staff that they have. And so I knew if I had the opportunity to work for him, I would definitely take that advantage and be able to, give back to him like he gave back to me in time of need to train for the UFL.
What's it been like for you so far, just being back here, kind of giving back to a place that important to you for so many years?
It's great. Like I said earlier, we don't really have a big market. It's getting bigger, and I'm really proud of, seeing the kids that's getting offers here and, going to the D1 level and playing at a high level. But, I want to expand that, really put Knoxville on the map as, a top talent area in, Tennessee and not even the Southeast. So that's really my goal, to help get kids on the map and help show that we have talent here and that we have a talent developer at receiver in Amari Rogers now. So I'm really looking forward to that challenge.
What a cool interview, Jesse, and just how awesome it was to have Amari join the show.
I feel old now because I covered Amari Rogers as a freshman at Catholic High School and all the way through Clemson. I covered him before the NFL draft. I saw him get drafted. I've seen him win championships as a high school player, as a college player, and now he's here at Triple F and going to be training wide receivers and a lot of athletes. And I watched him, Paige, before he got drafted, work out during COVID. I think it was April or May of COVID in 2020, and I've never seen anybody work out like that. I mean, that guy just gets after it, and he's going to be a huge asset for Triple F. So excited to have him as part of this growing family here.
No, yeah, definitely a great addition for Triple F. Now let's get into week 3.
Sure.
The key matchups, key games that we have coming up. The first one could really be a pivotal one, especially when we look at it from the perspective of Halls. And you mentioned the rough start that they had coming up, but it's a huge rivalry game that they have against Pal. And you say Deuce Rogers won't be in street clothes for that game.
I don't think he will be. And again, this is not sourced. This is just gut. He is a senior. This is the Battle of Emory Road. This is a big deal up there between Powell and Halls. He didn't play last week at Farragut. If he doesn't play, I still think he's going to be in uniform. So one way or the other, he's going to have something football on.
Yeah.
But this is an important game for Halls. Number one, they haven't won in this rivalry game in quite some time. They got a forfeit a few years back in 2019 or something like that.
Yeah, they lost the last 5.
But in terms of on-field legit wins, it's been almost a decade. And they want a win in this series in the worst way. They need a win this season in the worst way. They don't want to start off 0-3, not after everybody, including us, talked about them all preseason. So they're going to be coming in as a wounded animal, and that's dangerous for Powell to see. Now, for Powell, they have a lot of confidence coming into this game. Brody Hollowell came in at quarterback. He led them to a win. He's a confident kid anyway. So if he has to play some alongside Deuce Rogers, or if Deuce goes the whole game, they're going to have a legit, proven winners back there at quarterback. So it's going to be interesting to see the chess match between the two coaches, how they handle the emotions of the game early and how they make the plays late.
Yeah, I do wonder how the way that Halls has started their season, how much that'll influence the quarterback situation for Powell.
Yeah, and for Halls, I know one thing. Brent Hughes, their head coach, is an emotional, fiery guy. He's going to have those kids playing like they haven't played all year.
Or that they're 2-0,
that's not going to be in question. He's going to have their fire lit. So it's going to come down to what Matt Lowe feels is best for their quarterback situation at Powell, but I think he feels good either way.
This is another similar dynamic when we look to Coalfield at Rockwood. So Coalfield kind of has, let's say, dominated or won the last couple of matchups against Rockwood, but they too are 0-2 on the season.
Yeah, and that's to be expected. They played teams from bigger classifications, but Coalfield last week played a 4A team in Stone Memorial, and they had a 20-something point lead in that game.
Yeah.
Coalfield did, and they let it slip, and they lost in overtime. So you talk about a wounded animal coming into a week 3 game like Halls is with Powell. Coalfield is very much that. They feel probably sick to their stomach that they let that win over a 4A team get away, and that's bad news for Rockwood. Now, for Rockwood, they had a really young team a year ago, bring back pretty much everybody, and they're really excited about what 2025 could hold for them, but I would not want to face Rockwood or Coalfield this week, Powder Rockwood.
No, especially when you mentioned letting one slip.
Yeah.
You certainly don't want that to happen. South Doyle and Heritage, obviously a good matchup, another region matchup that we'll see. 12-8 all time in favor of South Doyle. Does that trend continue?
Possibly. I don't know if that's in my picks later on the show, but I'm not going to give it away just yet. Here's what I love
It is
about
in your picks later.
Okay. Here's what I love about week 3. There's no marquee matchup that like the whole state's going to be paying attention
Sure.
to. So for us in Tennessee, we get to shine a spotlight on communities like Heritage or at William Blount, who takes on Clinton. And so for Heritage, a team that has big aspirations in their classification this season, this is a chance to kind of send a statement locally, not to the state, but to beat an undefeated South Doyle team. And South Doyle's got to be feeling great. They really struggled over the last couple of years, and now they're 2-0. Their quarterback, Brang, has been throwing touchdowns left and right. So this should be a really fun matchup we're looking forward to. I know 5-Star Preps will be covering that Friday night.
And when you guys do, it's always the best coverage. The other game, kind of West and Central as well. Central has a lead 30-14 and one tie, but leads the series all the time.
Yeah, this is a big opportunity for Central to get a West team that won championships just a couple of years ago, back to back. They're
Deep
coming.
playoff run last year.
Got pummeled by Maryville last week.
Yeah.
And so they're maybe West limps into this game, don't have a lot of confidence because they're still figuring out. Remember, last week was West's first game of the season.
Yeah.
Central's already played a couple of teams and played some 6A opponents. So they have some things worked out and know what works and what doesn't work, and they want to knock off one of the bigger teams in the state. This will be a sneaky good game on Friday.
Yeah, I think it will be. When we go to our last kind of matchup to look at before we stay tuned for the Alcoa interview with Jacob Crow, let's look at Clinton at William Blount. So it's 6-1 all time. Clinton's won the last 4 matchups, and their last meeting, though, was in 2022.
William Blount still surprising people this year. They're undefeated. Jackson Dabrowski at quarterback. He's putting up big numbers like we expected him to. And Clinton did not show well in that game last week against Oak Ridge. Of course, they had their week 1 game rained out. They're looking to get off the schneid. And again, we talk about all the number of athletes that Clinton has. Well, at some point, it all has to gel, right?
Yeah.
It all has to come together, and you have to put a win on the scoreboard. That's a big opportunity for them to go in and face a William Blount team that got just a ton of confidence. So
sure.
again, another sneaky good game. I'm excited about week 3 just because we get to showcase these.
Yeah. These are games that, like, if you're a true fan of high school football, like you do want to see these teams. I know a couple Wounded Birds, as you mentioned, might be in the mix, but definitely an exciting matchup. So you kind of had this tease about the South Doyle Heritage match. I'm really interested to see what you have to say about that.
Okay.
We'll get to that coming up next.
The Film Room is presented by Smart Bank. Play smart, bank smart. Smart Bank. For more information, visit smartbank.com.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
Back to the Walk-Thru presented by Triple F. Jesse Smithey, joined by Jacob Crow, big offensive tackle from Alcoa High School. And Jacob, appreciate you joining us on the show today.
Yes, sir, of course.
You are number 77. You are not hard to miss out on the football field. And just let's start there. You have had an interesting kind of career arc at Alcoa in terms of just growth. And I did an interview with your head coach, Brian Nix, and he said, Jacob's never spent the same year in the same body. Your body continues to evolve and grow. And how has that been to learn football while your body feels and looks different every single year?
It's different. I've had to adapt to it. Gaining a lot of weight, almost 200 pounds in 3 years, it's kind of hard to adjust to that.
Kind of hard on the parents buying new clothes all the time, yeah? So what's your official height and weight right now?
6'8", 310.
310, wow. Committed to Texas Tech, and we'll talk about that here in a minute, but so far this season has gone great, and I know there were some question marks at certain points and certain places in the lineup. How do you feel like Alcoa has done, though, in your eyes, from what you've seen up front?
We've done really well up front. We've done better than we have previous years at this point, and I'm very, very proud of our O-linemen.
I know you got some good teammates up there. I think Marley Watts is a kid who we've talked about quite a bit on this show or on 5starpreps.com. Kind of discuss him and maybe some other guys, too, that you work alongside.
He's a great guy. I love hanging out with him. He works very hard, and so does the other O-linemen, really. Samuel, Colton Moore, Lane, Big Ton.
Yeah.
They all work very hard, and we all push each other.
How physical were things in that Maryville game? You got a 6A team that wanted to beat you guys in the worst way, and you're right there in the trenches. From start to finish, how physical is that football game?
It was physical all 4 quarters, but it was very fun.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thomas, we call it, is it Manu or Manu?
Manu.
Manu. Okay, we got the official pronunciation right there on the record. Thomas Manu. I had question marks about him. A lot of people had question marks about him, but what did you guys see in the preseason that made you feel like, all right, we got our guy?
He was very confident in his game. He knew what to do. He knew how to do it. Honestly, I had no question marks about him. I knew he was going to ball out.
Mm-hmm. Well, he certainly did that. He was a MVP of that win over Maryville and then played extremely well in week 2 against Beard. From what I saw, I think around 290 yards and 6 touchdowns. But for you, looking back to what you guys did in 3A last year, you won another state championship, 10 in a row for Alcoa. Now you make up the jump up to 4A. Did you notice coaches or workouts being tougher or anything in the offseason to kind of prepare for that jump?
Yes, sir. We have a tougher schedule, so it has to be tougher, the practices, and definitely the work has gone harder.
Yeah, it's definitely paid off so far. But from you individually, I'm sure you kind of look back on your 2024 season and said, hey, there's some things I did well, it's not so well. What were things that you wanted to improve on going into your senior year?
With me being tall, definitely my pad level, that I needed to improve on. And also I'd say my hand placement is something I still need to work on to this day.
When you talk about pad level for the casual football fan, when the ball is snapped, they're not looking at you. They're looking at the quarterback or the running back, the receivers. When you talk about pad level and you being tall, can you explain that, kind of like what you have to do on a play to make sure you have that leverage?
Leverage, really just get under their helmet, get your helmet under theirs. Be lower than them so you have the most power. When you're up high, they could get under you and out-leverage you.
But in high school, sometimes you're going against defensive linemen who might be 5'8", 5'10". I mean, that's a challenge for you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so definitely keep an eye on that next time you're watching an Alcoa football game. All right, let's talk college football. Texas Tech is kind of making some noise in the recruiting world. You went out there, you took a visit, and you committed shortly after. What did you like about Texas Tech campus and the football program?
I love their campus. Firstly, their facilities are amazing, and I love their coaches there. Both Coach McGuire's are awesome. Coach Kimball, they're all amazing people. I love spending time with them.
It's not just Patrick Mahomes stuff everywhere. I mean, is there?
bit.
Yeah, so there's probably got some Patrick propaganda out there. But how long did you get to go out there and check it out, and how long have they been recruiting?
The official visit was about 2.5 days. They recruited me early April, then got out there in June.
Yeah. It had to feel like a weight was off your shoulders to go ahead and commit and get that done with, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, sir, it was.
Let's look at Alcoa football going forward. And again, off to an unbelievable start and wins over 2 6A programs. But in practice, what do you hear the coaches preaching? What are they stressing to you all right now in terms of improvement?
Don't take a play off. Every play, you either get worse or you get better. Make sure you're getting better. Always just keep getting 1% better every time. Doesn't matter who we're going against, just keep going.
I know your offensive line coach, Goose, out there at Alcoa. He's raised and molded a lot of offensive linemen through the years at Alcoa. What have you learned from him that you think you'll take with you into the college ranks?
I've learned everything about being an old lineman from him. He's taught me all the technique I know today is because of Coach Gossett.
What's one thing you're looking forward to most about college football? Is it getting on like video games or what?
Honestly, it's going to be playing in that big atmosphere. That's going to be really fun.
All right. Well, Jacob, man, thanks so much for coming down to the show. Definitely the largest human we've had in that chair on the set in quite some time. And so make sure you check out Jacob Crow next time you watch an Alcoa game, number 77. Stay with us. We got much more to come. Pick segment coming right up.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
All right, so first off, tell me how you connected with Lee Smith. I'm guessing it's y'all's ties to the NFL, I'm sure.
Yes, sir. We were teammates for my first 6 years in the league, and that's very uncommon. There's a lot of turnover on NFL teams per year. So when you're with a guy, more than 2 or 3 years, they become really close to you. With me and Lee, we were teammates for 6 years, and it's just that feeling you get when you meet someone. You're like, oh, this guy's going to be in my life for the rest of my life. And since day one, he was always trying to get me to come check out Knoxville. He's like, you need to move your family to Knoxville and just live here. And I was like, dude, I'm from South Florida. I'm not moving to Knoxville. And then literally we came one time, me and my wife came out here to see the family, Lee's family. And we were like, dang, we fell in love with it. And been here ever since.
You played so many years in the league. At what point did you feel like giving back and pouring into training and the youth would be a part of like the next stage of your career?
Yeah, so when I got to Buffalo, my 5th year in the league, your first few years you're on a rookie contract, and if you're not drafted high, you're really, still trying to make a way. When I got to Buffalo, I started doing things like, my backpack giveaway, giving away Thanksgiving dinners on Thanksgiving. And then, Lee opened this place up. I think it's going to be 3 years in a couple of weeks. And, I have 3 kids, and 8, 5, and 3, 8, 5, and 1.5. And they're going to grow up here. And is, one of the reasons why I moved here.
What will be your role here, and kind of how have you gone about that so far?
Yeah, so I'll be working with the O-line guys mostly, just training them up and trying to get them ready for high school and further beyond that. And honestly, just hanging around. I'll be here. I come here all the time, just hanging around, and love being around the kids. And eventually, my kids will be coming here when they're older, and I'm sure I'll be here even more.
There have been a number of great offensive linemen that have come out of East Tennessee, actually, and how excited are you to kind of work with this kind of next wave of talent that comes through high school and possibly college and beyond?
Yeah, Brody is definitely going to be one of those next guys that are going to be really good. And then, I'm working with a few guys that are like, we have a couple 8th graders, and I'm like, dude, how are you in 8th grade right now? And then, Gabriel, I think he's going to be a really good player as well. I think he's in 9th grade right now. We have a lot of big guy talent, and I didn't know that about Knoxville. I'm a Florida guy. I always was like, South Florida has the best athletes, and I still think that's true. But Knoxville, we got some good linemen out here, and it's exciting for me because I love coaching up guys that are learning, but then there's that extra notch where you're like, oh, this guy's he can be really good.
Mm-hmm. Last thing, one of the things that I've liked about working alongside Lee is their sponsor of ours, is every time I come out here, I feel like they're doing something to invest, whether it's in the facility or whether it's in the kids' Bible studies. How impressed are you by what you've seen so far, or what Lee has done with this place?
Oh, it's outrageous. It's in typical Lee fashion. He is just not. He doesn't settle for anything. The way his brain works, he's always thinking about how to improve and we got the volleyball stuff going on. They're starting the volleyball stuff here, and my daughter's 8 and she loves volleyball, and like she's so excited to get to the age where she can do that here. And it's just as a parent, right now my kids just love coming here just to hang out, be in the facilities, and it's just there's so much to look forward to.
So a little bit of a size difference between myself and Jacob Crow. It was interesting. I sideline report for Alcoa on Fridays, and as they're coming out for the first game against Maryville, I see this guy head and shoulders taller than everybody else, and I'm like, let me find the roster. Like, how tall is this guy? 6'8", and it might be 6'9". The guy is huge, but such a good person too.
Right, a great interview with Jacob, and appreciate him coming out. And he was the first person that's ever made me fear for the sake of this chair. I know you look
like a regular person next to him.
When he sat it, and I heard it kind of give a little bit, I was like, oh, please don't break during this show. But it was good, and hopefully it withstands.
It still feels sturdy.
Yeah. Okay, good. I won't have to go buy another one.
Normal weight limit.
But he's one of the biggest offensive linemen I think this area has ever produced.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see the roster and at 6'8", and you're like, he's probably 6'6".
That's not why, yeah.
He's a legit 6'8". He is a large human.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Maybe he might be 6'9", but yeah, so it'll be exciting to see how he continues to grow this season, getting ready for Texas Tech.
Yeah, before we get into picks, I wanted to shout out a few things here on the last segment of the show. There were 3 teams that really caught my attention in week 2. Number 1, Sunbright. Sunbright, if you put me in my car and told me to drive to Sunbright, I would not get there. I don't know how to get to Sunbright. I know it's up there north, but I would not be able to find my way.
They'll drop you a pen.
But they are finally on the map, so to speak.
Okay.
They have ended a 26-game losing streak.
Nice.
Got their first win last week. First win since 2022. So shout out to the Sunbright
awesome.
Tigers. Concord Christian, Steve Matthews, head football coach out there. They got a big win last week. This is their first full season as a TSSAA member. They played 4 or 5 games last year and won a couple, but as a full-fledged member, full schedule, they got their first win. So shout out to the Lions.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then Greenville won a big boy football game. Against Upperman last week. Upperman is a team that made it to the state championship game a couple years, knocked off Greenville to get there. And I'm sure Greenville won a little bit of payback. So 41-33, Greenville Green Devils won that football game. And this is not the last we're going to hear of Upperman or Greenville in 4A this year.
Yeah, I don't doubt. But yeah, those are some really good shout outs. So kudos to those 3 teams that you just mentioned. And hopefully we'll have a couple more shout outs coming up next week. And maybe it'll be from one of the picks this week.
Hey, I did great in my picks last week.
Overall, you pat yourself on the shoulder. You're also very real when it's not a great week.
I have to build myself back up, especially after a horrible week 1.
Brand.
Week 1 was horrendous. Last week, I think we went 30-4 on our website in terms of picking.
Okay.
So we're back up to par. We're over 80% for the season. So that's where I like to be. 80 to 82% when I'm picking all those games. 35 to. Yeah, so somewhere in there. That's not my average. That's not my parameters. So we're in there now, and we're comfortable, and now we're going forward.
Okay, I love that. Now let's see if we can get past 82% starting this week. So we're going to look at our first game, Loudon and Kingston. This is a really long rivalry. Several matches, 44-35, 3 all time. The last meeting, or Loudon has won 3 of the last 4 4 meetings.
Yes, these are two communities that kind of mirror each other in my eyes. They have a lot of pride, a lot of tradition. They play hard-nosed football. They care about their football programs immensely, and they both value the run game. And I think we're going to get some old school football in this matchup. I doubted Loudon last week. They burned me. They absolutely smoked Lenore City. But I'm still going to go. I'm going to pick against them one more time and go with Kingston.
You're
I
on
did.
the bulletin.
I did a preseason article on Kingston, and Brian Pakey told me about how deep they were on the offensive line and how much veteran leadership they have on the offensive line, and they have one of the better tailbacks in the area in Tayshawn Hamilton. So for that reason, great running back, great offensive line, old school football. Kingston Yellow Jackets win that football game.
Okay, I forgot my pencil, so we'll just try to. You guys will help me keep track for next week. Then our next game will be Lipscomb at Catholic. So kind of two different starts for both of these teams.
Yeah.
Lipscomb 0-2, Catholic 2-0.
Catholic wants payback. They have lost
Sure
the
do.
last 4 meetings in this matchup with Lipscomb Academy. Things have not gone well for Catholic in this game
Wasn't a
against
close
Lipscomb
game last year
Academy.
either.
Now they see blood in the water. They want payback in the worst way. Trent Dilfer's no longer the coach there. He's out of town. He's coaching in college. It's time for Catholic to flex a little muscle. Catholic wins this game, and I'm going it by double digits.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Yep.
so total flip from last year
Yep.
when Lipscomb won by double digits. Our next one is Clinton at William Blunt, who it seems like you're kind of rising stock in William Blunt right now.
Absolutely. I am a believer in William Blunt, and I still think Clinton can do some big things this year. But again, they're still kind of ironing a few things out, whereas William Blunt has that senior leadership in all the right places and a lot of belief and energy. They're going to have the home crowd in their corner. This is going to be one of the best football games of the night on Friday. But give me William Blunt in a super, super close one.
Okay, I like that. And then we have Weston Central. I think for West, this has to be like a must-win kind of scenario.
I think Central gets out in front in this game. Caden Long at quarterback has been really good so far. In the first week, he ran for over 200 yards, and then last week he showed off his passing attack. He has good components around them. I think West, though, rallies late to win this football game. I think there's too much pride and belief in that locker room of what they've done over the last decade to just let it slide. So I think they're going to get after it defensively. I think they're going to run the football a lot in this game and kind of grind out an ugly win. Maybe they're in the second half. So just give me West, but it would not surprise me to see Central win it.
Yeah, ugly or not, a win is a win, as they say. And West desperately needs it. South Doyle and Heritage, you teased it earlier. I got to know, what were you saving for this matchup?
I'm going with Heritage to win this football game.
Oh,
Coach
okay.
O out there, man, he told me again in the preseason, this is the year. This is the year. And I'm going to believe him. They got a nice win in week 2 over a good CAK team. So give me the Mountaineers. They got things settled at quarterback now. They know who their guy is. They got a good run game. And he talked about the run-stop defense. So I'm going to put it into play. I'm going to go with Heritage.
I'm liking your picks more this week so far. Like the bold ones, I like the bold takes. Sometimes the bold takes maybe sometimes miss, but I think this week it won't.
I loved all my picks in week 1, and then I absolutely went into a dumpster fire.
Yeah, you're just like, can you please listen to me?
Yeah.
The last one, a game that we've mentioned a couple of times on the show already, it's Halls at Powell. I just think maybe the way things are going, you don't think Deuce Rogers is going to be in street clothes. I think maybe he might be. We can be contradicting in that. Okay, well, that'll be our own wager. But when we forget about that wager, where are you putting your money?
I think the Powell defense is going to come to play in this game. I think just from what they've seen from Halls on tape over 2 weeks, they know they're going to be able to stop the run, and I think they're going to try to pressure the quarterback just relentlessly, and that's kind of been what's gone wrong for Halls. They just hadn't had the time for some of these pass plays to pan out because Amari Lefko's had to scramble and run for his life and get rid of the football. So that's going to be Powell's kind of calling card is their defense. Up front, they have a number of guys that can make big plays and quarterback pressure. So for that reason, I think Powell gets another win in this series.
Okay, that'll be interesting. Well, it was always a great walkthrough. Make sure you subscribe at 5starpreps.com so you don't miss out on any of the exciting content or where Jesse was wrong. So make sure to join us next week and later this week when the high school football week gets started. We'll talk to you guys then.
This is the Walk-Thru, powered by Triple F Elite Sports Training. Train like a pro. Your all-access pass to the biggest games, hottest stories, and everything high school football in East Tennessee. From the Friday night lights to the chase for championships, We bring you the stars, the headlines, and every heart-pounding moment. So strap on that chin strap and get ready. Jesse, Paige, and the 5-Star Preps team are here with the most complete high school football coverage in the state. This is the Walk-Thru.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.